Have you ever woken up in the early morning with a sudden, sharp pain shooting through your calf or foot? It can feel like your muscle just turned into a hard knot, stubbornly refusing to relax. For many of us past the age of 65, these painful leg cramps often strike right when we're supposed to be enjoying a peaceful morning routine. Perhaps making a cup of tea, reading the paper, or preparing for a stroll around the neighborhood. Instead, we're left gripping our leg, waiting for the ache to pass. It's frustrating, it's surprising, and for some people it can even be scary. Yet most of us never talk about it, chalking it up to just another part of getting older. But is it truly inevitable? That's the question we'll explore here together. One of the biggest challenges with these morning cramps is that they seem to come out of nowhere. We lie down to sleep without a single ache, only to bolt upright at sunrise, desperately trying to massage out the tightness. Sometimes it feels like the more we try to prepare, maybe stretching before bed, hydrating, or being extra mindful of our steps, the more random these cramps appear. And because they're so unpredictable, many seniors simply accept them as something we have to endure. But that belief can keep us from uncovering a new approach, one that could very well bring relief and make morning cramps far less frequent or even a thing of the past. Addressing this issue matters deeply because it's not just about stopping the pain in the moment. Repeated morning cramps can chip away at our sense of independence. When your legs wake you up with discomfort or force you into an awkward stretch first thing in the morning, it sets a challenging tone for the rest of the day. For some older adults, this frustration can discourage being active altogether. The fear of a sudden cramp might keep you from taking that morning walk or signing up for a water aerobics class. Over time, that can lead to a kind of domino effect: less physical activity, reduced strength, decreased mobility, and even a greater risk of stumbling or falling. Our quality of life suffers not just physically, but emotionally too. Feeling uncertain about your own body can chip away at your confidence and overshadow the joys you still want to experience. That's why discovering the hidden factors behind these cramps can be transformative. Today, we'll dig into 4 often overlooked insights about morning leg cramps. We'll talk about certain habits we've been led to believe are helpful but might actually make cramps worse. We'll look at how our bodies change as we age and why many universal remedies may not apply to seniors in the same way. We'll also explore gentle, practical steps you can take that can make a world of difference without having to run out and buy expensive gadgets or sign up for complicated routines. Imagine waking up in the morning, setting your feet on the floor, and standing up without wincing, bracing, or feeling that dreaded twinge in your calf. That's the transformation we're aiming for. Now, you may be wondering who I am to share these insights. While I'm not a doctor, I've spent years immersed in holistic wellness approaches for older adults, focusing on the unique blend of physical, mental, and emotional well-being that helps people thrive in their later years. Through conversations with health practitioners, personal research, and direct experiences with seniors dealing with ongoing leg cramps, I've come to realize there's a real gap in understanding how simple daily adjustments can bring relief. By the end of this conversation, you'll have a set of strategies that you can try at home, ones that respect your individual needs and don't rely on one-size-fits-all solutions. Before we dive in, I'd love to know, have you noticed any pattern with your leg cramps, such as certain foods, activities, or even your mood before bedtime? Think about it as you listen. Sometimes the key is hidden in the details we barely pay attention to. By the end, you might discover a path to morning comfort that's been in front of you all along. Let's begin by exploring a surprising truth about leg cramps and aging that may challenge the conventional wisdom we've grown used to hearing. It's common to hear that stretching alone is the universal antidote to leg cramps. Many seniors have been told, just stretch more often and your cramps will vanish. While stretching does have its benefits, especially if you incorporate gentle routines before bedtime, it might not be addressing the deeper issue behind those aches. In fact, some people stretch all day long, before they get out of bed, after they stand up, before exercise after exercise, and still suffer from persistent morning cramps. This points to a misconception that flexibility is the only piece of the puzzle. Let's consider Harold, age 72. Harold was diligent about following his doctor's advice to stretch daily. Every night he'd do a series of calf stretches by the couch. Every morning he carefully pointed and flexed his toes while still lying in bed. Yet he continued to experience sudden calf spasms around sunrise, particularly on days when he had been on his feet more. He felt baffled. Was he not stretching correctly? Should he hold each stretch longer? The reality is that muscle tightness can certainly contribute to cramps, but age-related changes in hydration, circulation, and even nerve function can also play significant roles. Our muscle cells communicate with our nerves to tell them when to contract and when to relax. As we get older, the signals that maintain that balance can become less precise. That's where a more holistic approach comes in. Instead of focusing solely on stretching the muscle, we can also pay attention to how well we're managing hydration and electrolyte balance, as well as how much circulation-boosting movement we incorporate into our days. If you find that stretching alone hasn't solved your morning cramp issue, consider layering in these additional strategies. First, evaluate your evening fluids. Are you limiting water intake too early in the evening because you're worried about nighttime bathroom visits? Dehydration can be subtle and doesn't always manifest as thirst. Even a modest shortfall in fluid intake can throw off your muscle and nerve function. One option is to sip water steadily throughout the day instead of front-loading or back-loading your fluid intake. That way, you won't feel the need to drink a large glass of water right before bed, which can disrupt your sleep. Second, think about circulation. A gentle walk or some seated leg exercises can help keep blood flowing to your muscles, delivering the oxygen and nutrients they need. If your mobility is more limited, try simple seated calf raises while watching TV. Lift your heels off the ground, hold for a moment, and then lower them. This motion supports blood flow and helps your muscles stay engaged without being overworked. Beyond the physical benefits, addressing hydration and circulation can also boost your sense of self-reliance. It can be empowering to realize that a few mindful changes, like sipping water throughout the afternoon or taking short but frequent walks, can help improve how your body feels in the morning. The emotional relief of knowing you have some control over your body's comfort can be substantial, especially if you've been feeling at the mercy of these cramps. Before we move to the next idea, take a moment and reflect on your daily routine. Do you go long stretches without drinking water? Have you ever tried short, frequent walks instead of one long walk? Small adjustments can go a long way in preventing that early morning jolt of pain. Keep these questions in mind as we explore the next insight, which will likely surprise you if you've assumed your eating habits have little to do with how your muscles behave when you wake up. Many of us grew up hearing that a glass of milk or a piece of fruit before bed is enough to keep our muscles strong. Nutritional advice has changed a lot over the decades, and it's easy to assume that our diet doesn't play a huge role in leg cramps. But what if certain nutrients, or the lack thereof, are central to maintaining relaxed, cramp-free muscles? Consider Anna, who is 68. She had been battling near-daily morning leg cramps that left her limping through her chores. She was certain her diet was just fine. After all, she prepared homemade meals loaded with veggies and protein, but a closer look revealed that her sodium and potassium balances were off. She rarely seasoned her food with salt due to concerns about high blood pressure, and in an effort to keep her sugar intake low, she'd mostly avoided fruits. Over time, she'd unknowingly shifted her electrolyte balance so far in one direction that her muscles struggled to find stability. Her leg cramps were, at least in part, connected to this imbalance. Muscles need a mix of electrolytes, especially sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, to function smoothly. These minerals help your cells generate the electrical impulses that cause muscles to contract and then relax. When any of these nutrients are consistently lacking or in excess, the result can be twitchy, overactive muscles that spasm at the slightest trigger. A practical step is to pay attention to the nutrient profiles of your meals. It's not about loading up on salt or gulping down sports drinks, especially if you have conditions like hypertension or kidney problems. Instead, focus on naturally balanced foods. Leafy greens, nuts and seeds, bananas and avocados can all supply you with magnesium and potassium. If you're worried about sugar, choose fruits that are lower on the glycemic index, such as berries or apples. Season your meals with herbs and spices that contribute trace minerals, and consider a light sprinkle of salt if your doctor says it's okay. For calcium, remember that dairy isn't the only source. Leafy greens, beans, and fortified foods can help. What makes dietary adjustments particularly powerful is that they often address more than just muscle cramps. A balanced diet can also support your heart, bones, and even your mood. Plus, when you're fueling your body well, you might notice you have more energy to do the exercises or stretches that further reduce cramps. This creates a positive cycle. You eat in a way that supports muscle health. You feel more motivated to move, and that movement further alleviates cramps. Emotionally, it can be reassuring to know that you have the power to influence how your muscles behave simply by tweaking what you put on your plate. It reinforces the idea that aging doesn't have to mean giving up control of your body. Instead, you can adapt in thoughtful ways. If you're on medications that affect mineral balance, like diuretics for blood pressure, it's crucial to discuss with your healthcare provider how changes in your diet might interact with those medications. Take a moment now to consider, is there a healthy food you've been missing from your routine? Perhaps there's a colorful array of vegetables at your local market you've been meaning to try, or a low-sugar smoothie recipe you saw but never made. Simply thinking about these small shifts can open the door to more comfortable mornings. And if you're ready for another surprise, just wait until you hear about a factor that rarely makes it into the conversation about muscle cramps. Your nervous system's response to stress. When we think of stress, we usually picture worry, anxiety, or a racing heart, not leg cramps. But there's a quiet interplay between mental tension and muscle tension that can show up in surprising ways, particularly as we get older. Anxiety, unresolved stress, or even constant low-level worry can keep the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight part, more active than necessary. When that system is on high alert, it can exacerbate muscle contractions and lower our threshold for cramping. Take Vincent, age 75, who noticed that his morning cramps worsened whenever he felt anxious about family matters. After losing his wife, he moved into a retirement community to avoid feeling isolated. Yet he found himself worrying about finances, missing the comfort of his old neighborhood, and feeling uncertain about making new friends. His stress revealed itself physically in the form of frequent calf cramps at 5 a.m. He'd tried hydration, stretching, and even adding magnesium to his diet, but the cramps persisted. Only when he addressed his emotional well-being, through gentle yoga, talking with a counselor, and practicing deep breathing techniques, did the cramps start easing. This mind-body connection might sound abstract, but it has a clear scientific basis. The hormones and neurotransmitters released during chronic stress can alter the signals that control muscle fibers. Tense emotional states can lead to tense muscles, primed for cramping. When your body is stuck in a stress loop, it's harder for muscles to relax, especially during nighttime and early morning hours when we're supposed to be at our calmest. How can you break the cycle? You don't need to become a meditation master overnight. Start with small steps, like spending 5 minutes each evening practicing slow, deliberate breathing. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for 1 second, then exhale for a count of 6. Notice how this can help your body shift into a more relaxed state. Activities like journaling, prayer, or listening to soothing music also lower stress hormones and give your nervous system a chance to reset. For some, a gentle mindfulness practice before bed or first thing in the morning can work wonders in keeping those calves calm. The emotional upside is significant. Knowing you can influence your body's physical state by tending to your mental and emotional health can boost self-confidence and provide a sense of calm. Seniors often carry the misconception that stress reduction is a luxury or something only younger folks talk about. But when you see direct physical benefits, fewer cramps, better sleep, a more upbeat outlook, you realize it's a key part of overall well-being, no matter your age. Before we move on, think about a simple relaxation activity you could incorporate into your routine. It might be a quiet stretch before bed, a moment of gratitude journaling, or even calling a friend for a supportive chat. Sharing your experiences can also foster a sense of community. You might be surprised how many other older adults are facing similar challenges. If you're ready for yet another angle on cramp prevention, stay tuned. We're about to discuss a topic many people assume is either too complicated or too trivial to matter. The subtle art of improving your sleeping environment. Most conversations about leg cramps focus on what you do while you're awake. Stretching, walking, hydrating, eating well. But your bedtime environment can also affect how your muscles behave when you wake up. Whether it's the position you sleep in, the temperature in your bedroom, or even the type of mattress you have, these factors can influence your circulation, comfort, and tendency to cramp. Picture Elaine, who is 69 and has arthritis in her knees. She used to sleep on a very soft mattress because she found it initially comfortable on her joints. However, over time she noticed her lower legs would develop an intense stiffness by morning. She would also wake up with excruciating cramps in her calves or feet. After some experimentation, Elaine discovered that a medium-firm mattress gave her better alignment of her hips and legs. That alignment helped reduce the tension in her calf muscles, dramatically lowering the frequency of her cramps. Temperature plays a role too. Some seniors find that overly cold environments make their muscles tighten. Others might have trouble regulating body temperature at night, which can lead to sweating and subsequent dehydration, another trigger for cramps. If you wake up multiple times feeling hot and throwing off the covers, you could be losing more fluid than you realize. Experiment with lightweight blankets or adjust your thermostat a couple of degrees to strike a balance. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're neither too hot nor too cold. Sleeping position also matters more than many realize. If you're a side sleeper, you might angle your legs in a way that strains certain muscles. Or you might hyperextend your toes without noticing, setting yourself up for a rude awakening when your alarm goes off. A pillow placed between your knees or under your calves can help maintain natural alignment, easing pressure on vulnerable spots. If your body feels supported through the night, your muscles are less likely to overreact in the morning. Making these changes can feel daunting if you've been sleeping a certain way for decades, but it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Start with one small tweak, maybe a change in pillow placement or a slight adjustment to the room's temperature. Observe how you feel in the morning for a week. Gradually, you'll learn what works best for your unique situation. The benefits aren't just physical. Sleeping more comfortably can also help you wake up in a better mood, more hopeful about the day ahead, and ready to engage in social or physical activities without the dread of a sudden leg spasm. This might be a good moment to pause and do a mini inventory of your bedroom setup. Is there a part of your sleep environment that might be contributing to muscle tension? Sometimes a simple act of rearranging pillows or adjusting the room temperature can have an immediate impact. Each change you make is another step toward reclaiming peaceful, cramp-free mornings. And as you reflect on all the strategies we've covered, hydration, nutrition, stress reduction, and sleep environment, remember that lasting improvement often comes from combining several small shifts that work together to support your body's natural rhythms. We've covered the surprising ways stretching, diet, stress, and sleep environment can affect your morning cramps. Each piece can offer valuable relief on its own, but together they form a holistic approach that recognizes just how interconnected our bodies truly are. Maybe you've discovered one particular insight that resonates strongly with you, like adding more potassium-rich foods or trying a different type of mattress. Or perhaps you're intrigued by the idea that stress management could ease your aches. The key takeaway is that cramps aren't simply a random bolt of pain you have to put up with. They're often a signal that something in your daily routine could be tweaked to help you feel better tomorrow and in the weeks to come. Addressing leg cramps sooner rather than later is important, not because you should fear dire consequences, but because morning cramps can become an unnecessary limitation on the life you want to lead. They can discourage you from social events or outdoor activities you used to enjoy. They can sap your energy early in the day, leaving you more prone to feeling tired or irritable. By tackling them head-on, you send a powerful message to yourself and to those around you. You're still in control of your well-being, and you're willing to adapt as you go along. Now picture the next few weeks. You begin sipping water more consistently throughout the day, maybe setting a gentle reminder on your phone or watch. You add a few extra veggies or fruits to your dinner plate, focusing on magnesium and potassium. You try a nightly relaxation practice, perhaps guided imagery or a simple breathing exercise, to reduce your overall tension. You adjust a pillow under your calves or between your knees. Little by little, these changes become part of your routine. One morning, you wake up and realize that the sharp, jarring pain in your legs hasn't struck in days. You might even feel a renewed sense of excitement about your morning walk or the gardening you've been wanting to do. If you're feeling ready to put these ideas into action, there are several ways you can move forward. First, pick one simple change, like a breathing exercise before bed, and commit to trying it for a full week. Second, share what you've learned with a friend or family member. Talking it over not only helps you remember the details, but also creates support and accountability. If you're more tech savvy, you could even find an online discussion group where seniors share their success stories and tips on preventing leg cramps. And if you suspect an underlying medical issue or interact with multiple medications, make an appointment with your healthcare provider to discuss these insights and how they fit into your overall care plan. Ultimately, this is about more than just avoiding discomfort. It's about preserving your independence, your confidence, and your ability to greet each new day without hesitation. You deserve mornings filled with possibility, not marred by an unpleasant cramp. You've spent a lifetime accumulating wisdom and experience. This is just one more chapter in using that knowledge to take care of yourself. By blending common sense with a willingness to try new approaches, you can shape a future where leg cramps are the exception rather than the rule. Remember, you're the best judge of what your body needs. Take these ideas, adapt them to your reality, and don't hesitate to seek professional advice when necessary. Embrace each morning as a fresh start, one that can be free of those annoying cramps and full of promise instead. Let this be your next step in a journey of holistic well-being that respects the resilience you've already shown throughout your life.